All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a story that literally reshaped world history, transforming a functioning republic into a massive, sprawling empire. We're looking at the story of Julius Caesar, and let me tell you, this journey is far more complex, strategic, and thrilling than those old marble statues might suggest.
It really brings up the ultimate historical question, doesn't it? How exactly does a massive, incredibly wealthy republic fall to just one single guy? To answer that, we really have to immerse ourselves in the intense, dangerous atmosphere of 1st century BCE Rome. We have to look past the myths and see the gritty, high-stakes reality of ancient politics, where literally every decision carried monumental consequences. You see, before Julius Caesar became a legend, Rome was an absolute political powder keg. Sure, it was ambitious and incredibly wealthy, but it was also dangerously divided. Imagine walking through the Roman Forum back then. You'd see a bustling marketplace, powerful senators debating, and violently clashing factions right there in the streets. In this kind of environment, political ambition could bring you enormous, world-altering power, or, well, it could just as easily get you killed.
Which brings us to Section 1, a divided Roman Republic.
Moving on to Section 2, the climb to power.
So, behind the scenes, Caesar pulls off this brilliant, highly strategic move to rapidly escalate his political status. He forms a private alliance known as the First Triumvirate. He teams up with Pompey and Crassus, who just so happen to be two of the most powerful and wealthy statesmen in all of Rome. By pooling their massive resources together, they were able to effectively control Roman territories and completely bypass the traditional political gridlock. And this alliance kicked off the next phase of his master plan: total military dominance. His campaigns were just astonishing. In the Gallic Wars, he dramatically expanded Roman control in Gaul. Then he engineers this stunning psychological flex by building a massive wooden bridge right across the Rhine. After that, he pushes into mysterious new frontiers with the British invasion, and finally, he crushes the Gallic resistance at the massive siege of Alesia. The sheer scale of these conquests is staggering, and it shows how every single military victory he achieved out there translated directly into undeniable political capital back home. Section 3, Crossing the Rubicon. Now, things escalated incredibly fast. First, his political enemies in the Senate actually attempted to formally strip him of his power. Second, a messenger arrives at his camp with this incredibly tense news. And third, instead of just stepping down, Caesar makes the fateful decision in 49 BCE to march his battle-hardened soldiers right across the Rubicon River in northern Italy. The absolute gravity of that moment? Well, it's best captured by the idea that this act was effectively a declaration of civil war, and Rome would never be the same. This wasn't just some simple military maneuver or a change of scenery. It was the spark that plunged the Republic into a massive, unavoidable civil war. Once those boots hit the opposite riverbank, the old rules were completely gone. After crossing the Rubicon in 49 BCE, we see a massive domino effect of epic conflicts sweeping the region. Just a year later, in 48 BCE, he secures a huge victory at the Battle of Pharsalus, really showcasing his tactical mastery against Roman forces in Greece. Then, the conflict shifts to Egypt for the Alexandrian War, where he famously forms a strategic and political alliance with Queen Cleopatra. At this point, he's not just winning local battles, he's literally reshaping the entire Mediterranean world.
Section 4, Dictator of Rome.
Now, while the everyday citizens are out celebrating in the streets, the Senate is watching in utter panic. Remember, the Roman Republic was historically built on the foundational idea of preventing kings from ever ruling Rome again. But here was Caesar, bypassing traditional checks and balances altogether. The Senate deeply feared a direct return to monarchy. To them, the Republic as they knew it was officially dead. But here's the thing. Caesar wasn't just a conqueror holding on to power. He was actively using it as a governor. He completely restructured their calendars based on complex astronomical calculations, which actually gave us the Julian calendar. He commissioned comprehensive new land surveys and initiated these massive public construction projects. He was a highly effective administrator, laying down civic infrastructure that would literally outlast the Roman Empire itself.
Section 5, the Ides of March.
On March 15, 44 BCE, the infamous Ides of March, the absolute unthinkable, happens. A group of highly suspicious senators, literally gripping hidden daggers under their robes, surround Caesar right there in the chamber. It was a chaotic, shocking, and fatal end for the dictator, leaving him collapsed on the marble floor. And the wild part is the assassins genuinely believed they were acting as the saviors of the state, striking down a tyrant to halt his supreme power.
Looking back at the outcome, there is a profound, really tragic irony to the whole thing. The Senate's goal was completely straightforward: save the Roman Republic. But the actual result? It just accelerated the violent struggle for power. His death absolutely did not restore peace or democratic order. Instead, it acted as the very catalyst for the birth of an empire.
Section 6. Caesar's Immortal Legacy. Ultimately, it all boils down to one single name that became forever synonymous with absolute authority. His ambitions were so monumental that Caesar literally became the actual title used by emperors for centuries to come, shaping our collective memory of Rome forever.
As we wrap up this explainer, we're left with a pretty massive, provocative question to think about. Is absolute power an inevitable cycle when a republic becomes too deeply divided? It really forces us to think critically about the fragility of divided societies, the complex mechanics of political alliances, and of course the ultimate lasting cost of ambition.